Hello, dear Tarika. So I'm happy to announce that another course, Ошо Terapist course, will happen with you in Sochi in November from 23rd till 27th. So, and I'm happy I have this occasion to ask you questions. So this group for the people who work with the other people. So can you specify a little bit?
Yes. I'm also glad that I get to see you here, Nando. The Ошо Therapist, which is also, the subtitle is To the Heart of the Matter, is looking at what happens in the practitioner. What are we bringing to the work? What kind of relationship gets created between us and a client if we're not taking care of our own story, looking at our own wounds? How much of that gets broadcast in the work? So we're really spending those days looking at what motivates us to work with people, what happens when we're not clear about our own life, and how we try to work that out through the work with the client. But it's not up to our clients to help us sort out our story. We need to do that for ourselves. So it is 5 days of actually touching some painful places, because when you start looking at what's unresolved in your own life and how that gets in the way of working with the client, it feels painful. You don't even realize how much of the time you're trying to work out your own life story through the work with the client. So we're looking really at the issues that come up for the therapist, the doctor, the lawyer, anybody who has the possibility of a relationship where they're higher and somebody feels lower. Because in a relationship like therapist-client, what happens for the client is they get to regress. So they go back to their childhood. So when they look at you, they might not be seeing you as the person who's the therapist. They might be seeing their abusive parent, or they might be seeing somebody who loved them dearly, and you become that person. So you need to be able to recognize who you are in the work so that the work actually stays clean. It's not a skills training. I'm not teaching people counseling skills, but I do teach the possibility of a tool that can help people to stay as therapists or doctors, lawyers, in their own space, so that the work stays clean, so that the person who comes to look at their issues has a chance to look at their issues and not the issues of the practitioner. It is, I think, essential to recognize that most of these relationships, also teachers, even center leaders, become an ideal person in somebody else's eyes. And in fact, we're not. We're just human beings. And we need to recognize how our humanness is our responsibility and not the responsibility of the client. So these are very beautiful days, but they're strong days. And for me, there are issues that come up in these days that are absolutely essential to look at. Who are we in the work? And why do we want to work with people? Why does anyone want to be in that kind of relationship? Because it is a different relationship than just your friends or your partner, who tend to be, or at least look like, they're more equal. And they also may not be. But we're looking specifically how to keep the relationship between you and your client healthy, so that you feel good and the client feels good. And that's what the Ошо Therapist To the Heart of the Matter is about.
So thank you so much, Tarika. So everybody will have more clarity at least, and I guess people will work with the essential qualities, and it will bring more clarity and good things to their work.
Yes, what we do is, by looking at what might still be wounded inside of us, is we start to recognize how much of our qualities we're not actually living. And once we start to heal those wounds, or go on healing those wounds, because it is a process, we begin to have a stronger sense of our qualities. And then we actually begin to realize that we bring to the work something very special. We bring who we are. And it's not just about what we learn to do. So this these 5 days are really about recognizing that you can't hide behind a technique. Techniques are great. I love them. They're wonderful. There's many of them. There's hundreds of them. And they all say something, and they all are in some way, in their own way, valuable. But that's not what heals, in fact. The healing happens from heart to heart, human to human, with an understanding that we all carry our history with us, and we are responsible for making sure that history doesn't continue to run our lives. So, yes, we'll be looking at how we can bring those qualities into our own awareness and allow those qualities to be with us when we're working with people.
Okay, it's more clear, and from my own experience I can say that you're creating such a beautiful safe space during the group. It's already brings a lot of healing, and it's such a pleasure to work on the group with you.
Thank you.
So I'm looking forward to seeing Sochi, and so I guess we will have a beautiful group.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it too. I have actually never been there, so I'm curious to see what this place looks like. And I really enjoy running or leading or being part of this group. I don't even know at this point what to call it. But I do like being in that energy of people willing to look a little bit deeper about why are they working with people. And it's a question we keep coming to throughout the 5 days. What motivates us, and is it healthy?
Yeah, it's actually a very good question.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, I think that's a very important point. A lot of people actually think, or they get told the idea that once they learn a technique, that's all they need to know. But actually the technique is not the important thing. It's who you are in the work that's important. And I love when people start to recognize that they bring more than just a skill or a knowledge or an idea to their client. They actually bring themselves. And I like that.
Yeah, totally agree with you, and I'm happy to work with you.
Great.
Okay, so see you soon in Sochi. I mean, actually it's in half of year, but
yeah.
it goes so quickly.
So fast, I agree. So see you soon in Sochi, yes.
Okay, and have a beautiful group.
Thank you, Anando.
Okay.
Yeah.